So guys, week 3 winter is now live here in the Horizon Decades Festival playlist, and with that we will also have the trial again, the Horizon play, which requires you to do a championship, and for some odd reason, they brought the Eliminator back, which to be honest, I didn't even bother doing. But as y'all know, we do not waste any time here. Let's jump right into this, starting off with the weekly challenge that will have the Mitsubishi Lancer. So for the first challenge here with the Mitsubishi Lancer, the best part about this car is I would say basically everybody has it, as you pretty much get the car in the beginning of the game. The one thing I have to admit though, guys, I would definitely recommend trying out the build I am running on this car, because you will have to have this thing slightly built for one of the other challenges during this entire thing. And I would recommend doing that because if you are running this thing in B, it's honestly not going to be quick enough and you might end up getting slightly frustrated. For me, I basically made this car A-leveled, and it did insanely well. But the first part, though, as always, is you will have to drive the car for the first part of the challenge. So simply head out of your garage, guys, and drive it for around 5 to maybe 7 seconds, and you can move over to the second step. The second step after that, though, will require you to do 3 laps at one of the time attack tracks. Now, of course, with the Lancer kind of being a rally car, you probably guessed on what track you will have to do. This is the rally type of track, guys. It's very close by to where the Horizon Island is, also close by to Tokyo City. Head there and basically go around it 3 times. That's all you have to do. You don't have to hit like a record or anything. Simply drive around it 3 times, and that's basically it. You can move over to the third step. The third step of this, though, is going to require you to earn 3 stars at the Festival Loop Speed Zone. Now, I did end up testing this out, guys. The first thing I did was I ran this and got 2 stars, then ran it again and got 1 star, and it did not count. So, you will have to get 3 stars on this for this to work. I wanted to mention that, and also why I said you probably want to try the build out and or at least level the car up a little bit, because if you don't, this one might end up being kind of annoying, but I'd recommend starting on the other end as it will give you a better head start on this. Keep in mind, you have to get around 100 miles an hour. It's actually like 90 miles an hour, but I did start going over 100 miles an hour. And the biggest thing I can say here is making sure you guys keep the speed up, which is probably the dumbest thing you can say, but it's also pretty dang true, because you want to make sure you're going around these corners carefully and also not just trying to fly around them, because obviously the snow is out. But luckily this car seems to do very good, guys, if you start over there and hit the main objective at around 100 miles per hour. And then the last step of the weekly challenge is going to be win a dirt race in the Mitsubishi Lancer. Now, you guys could pretty much head over to any dirt race and do the custom version of it. But to be honest, though, the race I did end up doing is right near the Vision House located right over here. This I would probably say is the best one to do because you simply can jump right into it. You don't have to do custom mode or anything. Although if you want to do a different race, you can also take that route if you want to. The next part is the photo challenge, so you'll have to take a photo of any rally monster from the 2000s. Now, the funny part is, I would say the car on the photo itself is probably the best option, the Ford Focus RS. I gotta say, guys, just grab this car and do it. It is not insanely expensive, but to be honest, compared to other cars, it kind of is expensive. But I also feel like a lot of people probably have this. The other car you could also do is the Peugeot 2000. That car is way cheaper than the Ford Focus. So if you don't have it, you could also try the Peugeot, will end up working. But simply head into photo mode and take a photo of it, and that is all you will need to do. The next part after that, though, is the treasure hunt here, which is going to be a treasure located in the snow region, guys. I will show you exactly where this is on the map. It's pretty much right next to like a little cabin. Head over there and run into the treasure itself, and boom, that's all you will need to do. Moving over from there, though, is the first seasonal championship here, which requires a 2000 modern rally, or 2000s, I probably should say. You guys can run any car in this list here. For me, I did end up picking the Subaru WRX STI. The biggest thing I can say here, though, is whichever car you guys pick, make sure you put snow tires on it. It makes everything so much easier, man. I'm not even kidding. Just trust me, do it. If you do not and you run something like rally tires, you will slide everywhere. But if you run these snow tires, they actually have a use for something like this. So at least it will make it easier than sliding everywhere. The next championship from there, though, will require a 2000s retro sports car. For this, guys, you could use a few different cars, or more like a couple of different ones. You have the TVR and also the NSX, which is actually a barn find. I would say most people have this thing because you kind of have to have this car anyway. So if you have that thing, simply jump in, upgrade the car. You could try out the build I am running on it. A very simple build and tune just for something like this, which is the championship. This car did not struggle whatsoever. It flew through this in every single event. And I also got to say, at least the races in this weren't insanely long like the Off-Road Championship. I'm not going to lie, some of those longer events are honestly not that fun in this. The next part from there, though, will end up being the time attack and also the speed zone. Funny part is you can run the exact same car in both of these. You could probably run the Corvette and or the Dodge Viper ACR. Both cars are great. For me, though, I did end up picking the 458. I don't know why, guys. I wanted to try this car because I've always liked the 458. So I'm like, you know what? Let me put a random build on this thing and try it out. And surely enough, with an all-wheel drive swap, it is really good. I did end up beating the time attack basically first try with it. And let me tell y'all, the driving was not very good, okay? I'm going to put that right out there. I did not drive good whatsoever. I was braking wrong. I was turning wrong. And I still beat this with over 2 seconds to spare, or at least around 2 seconds. So if you guys do try this build out, I would definitely recommend at least, giving it a shot if it's a little bit funky, as the all-wheel drive swap on this car makes it a little bit harder to turn in some places, which some people may not end up liking, but hey, it does grip pretty dang well. From there, though, you can then head over and do the speed zone. Again, running the same exact car here, guys, I did before. This thing beat this with no issues. Funny part is I almost failed it, though, because I was kind of, again, failing at driving. The car grips so dang good with this setup that it's almost kind of hard to drive in some places. But once you guys actually slow down, downshift mildly, and go, okay, well, I kind of need to slow down, it seems to do very well. But I could probably see this speed zone being a little bit annoying for some players, as you kind of have to hit over 100, which, depending on how you hit that last corner and your overall speed, it might be pretty difficult.
You have arrived at your destination.
The last part of this, though, is the drift zone, and the funniest part is you guys could run something like the Dodge Viper, the 458, and also the Corvette, but I would recommend just pulling out the Mazda RX-8 Formula Drift. You don't have to touch this car at all, by the way. It is completely fine stock. You don't have to do anything to it. As it comes, you can easily complete this entire drift zone. I got well over what I needed to get on this one, which I think it's like 100,000, 110 or something is what you have to get, and I was pushing well over like 130. This thing can easily do it, no issues whatsoever. If you are struggling, try out the Mazda RX-8.
your destination.
And then as always, we now have the trial, which is of course back. And to be real, I don't think a lot of players are actually big fans of this. You guys can run something like the Civic Type R that was in the Season Pass or Car Pass thing, the Ford Focus RS, or the Acura is also very good. I'd actually recommend running that car most likely over some of the other ones. But the biggest issues with the trial is probably the RNG of how your teammates are and also some other factors as well, as I would say they can be kind of frustrating to do, guys, because if you're doing very well and everybody else is in last, then you will pretty much lose no matter what. So I would recommend kind of just keeping at it. I do understand the trial is annoying, and to be honest, I'm probably not the biggest fan of it, as I can see it being kind of RNG based on having good teammates and different things, and if you don't, it is probably not a very fun time, especially playing a team-based game mode and people literally crash you when you're supposed to work together, or they stop you from trying to pass them, or they kind of like block you and stuff. Like, bro, block the other racers that we're supposed to be racing against together. It makes no sense. But either way, though, I can see why people are not the biggest fan of the trial, as it really is not all that fun at times. Now, the last thing I did end up doing is the PvP thing. You simply jump in, do an entire championship, and you're pretty much done with it. Now, I gotta say a few things, though. I haven't played too much PvP in this game, and guys, I'm gonna be real. I don't really enjoy it that much. I'm going to be honest there. And the reason for that with the championships is I did end up picking the wrong car in mine, and I can't even change the car. So I'm kind of cooked. I have to drive the worst vehicle. I can't change it. Like, yes, you picked that car for a championship. I understand that, but maybe it should give players the option to maybe pick a different car. I don't know. It's just my thoughts anyway. If you pick the wrong vehicle, or you might pick a car you don't like, then you're basically screwed. Luckily for this challenge, all you will need to do is complete the championship. You don't have to win or anything. You just have to be in there. And that is pretty much it. Do let me know what y'all think, as I have not played a lot of PvP, and to be real, I don't think I see myself really playing PvP that much. I don't know. I mean, the spec racing is pretty cool, but the overall Horizon play with the different cars and then picking the wrong car and then the way people are driving and how some of that all is with how the cars are built and all that stuff. I don't know, man. I just haven't really played it. I might play a little spec racing here and there, but to be real, it's been kind of nice avoiding PvP. I'm not going to lie on that. The other part is the Eliminator. I did not do the Eliminator because I personally have no reason to do it. It is for 2 points, and the Eliminator is not the funnest game mode out there. What's kind of interesting is Playground probably knows people do not like the Eliminator, and yet it is still something you have to do in the festival playlist. Like, Playground, remove the Eliminator. No one actually wants it in the festival playlist. But besides that, guys, the trial can be pretty frustrating, and then you also have to play some PvP if you don't want to. Well, unfortunately, you will have to do it. Funny part is, I do have a video coming this weekend talking about the entire festival playlist, because to be honest, I think it needs some changes.